Lost Ark is a game with an ungodly amount of work that goes into gearing up your character. Tier 1 alone has 500 item levels to work on. So now that you are level 50, how do you go about working on it? I have not been playing Lost Ark for long, just since the North American launch, but let me share my understanding of the gearing system. Gearing in Lost Ark is actually pretty straightforward, though on first glance it appears to be far from such. The way I'm going to go about explaining it is to lay out the steps to take from the moment you hit 50 and have unlocked the endgame content. Shortly after you hit level 50, you should get to Vern and unlock the endgame content. Check your guide quests and start unlocking the different features. This includes Chaos Dungeons. At this moment, you have two options to start your gearing journey. The first is to do your 2 daily Chaos Dungeons. These give you extra rewards that include a bunch of 302 item level gear. This gear is the start of your tier 1 gear. The alternative is to continue the main story into Shoeshire, in which finishing the storyline in that zone will give you a set of 302 gear. My actual recommendation is to try to push through the storyline, get your 302 gear, and also do your 2 Chaos Dungeons in one day. Look over all the gear you get and equip the best gear that you can. Don't worry too much about it though, as the quality of this gear doesn't matter. It will be replaced quickly. Dismantle all the gear you don't need. They will give you honing materials, and this is where gearing really takes off. Honing is the powerhouse of Lost Ark gearing. This system lets you increase the item level and stats of your gear. The material for honing is earned through doing dungeons, guardian raids, quests, and primarily dismantling equipment. After you have your set of 302 gear and the materials from dismantling, make sure you do the honing guide quest to unlock honing. With honing, you will select your gear and dump resources into upgrading it. There is a percentage chance that the honing fails, which increases with the level of the gear, though to start with, you luckily have a 100% chance. At this point, you should run your daily Chaos Dungeons and Guardian raids, earning your equipment and gear, dismantling the gear you don't need, and upgrading your item level. Do this until you get to the item level to do Abyssal Dungeons. The equipment from Abyssal Dungeons has a set bonus and better stats than your other gear. You will end up replacing all of your equipment with equipment from Abyssal Dungeons. Check out a guide on your class for which sets you should focus on. An extra benefit to Abyssal Dungeon gear is that you can craft it. Even better is that when you dismantle Abyssal Dungeon gear, or the crafted versions, you receive the exact resources that it takes to make one. This means that when you start getting Abyssal gear, you should dismantle them and keep crafting until you get high quality versions that you want. The quality and stats of your gear at this point is as good as your willingness to dump time into crafting and recrafting them. Once you get this new gear though, you will need to transfer your honing levels onto the new pieces. Where you hone your equipment, you will see a transfer tab. Here you can pay silver to destroy a piece of gear and transfer its levels to another piece. You'll want to do this when you find a better piece. After you have your Abyssal Dungeon gear and you've transferred your honing levels, you will continue to hone and replace pieces until you hit the threshold and enter the next tier. Once you enter the next tier of gear, so for tier 2, that is item level 802, you will do tier 2 Chaos Dungeons to get tier 2 gear. Tier 2 gear will be better from the start than your high level tier 1 gear, so you will replace your pieces as you get them. This is nice because your success chance for honing your tier 1 gear at this point is around 40%. At this point you will repeat how you handled tier 1 gear with the tier 2 gear. Get your Chaos Dungeons and Guardian Raid gear, hone it until you get your Abyssal Dungeon sets, hone that until you breach into the next tier of equipment, rinse and repeat. Gearing in Lost Ark is a grind of earning honing resources, doing your daily Chaos Dungeons, doing your daily Guardian Raids, doing your weekly Abyssal Dungeons. All of this leads to you getting your honing resources. With that aside, of course, with it being a free-to-play game, they are more than willing to sell these resources to you, or the means to get them easier. If that floats your boat, have at it. Otherwise, it really can be a grind. I personally, though, find it enjoyable, especially if you're willing to accept that you just may not be on the edge of the available content. I hope this video gave you some understanding of gearing in Lost Ark. If it did, please hit that subscribe button. If you still have questions, you can ask them in the Discord linked below or during one of my Twitch streams. With that aside, until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield.